If you love live music, I swipe left on you every time. And I need to explain why, because it has almost nothing to do with music. I've been in 2 bands myself, played live more times than I can count, load in, load out, the whole grind of it. I have friends who have been signed to major labels, still touring, still playing clubs to this day, so I've watched that life up close for years. I've spent decades in radio, which means I've been backstage to more major acts than I can list, watched shows from the side of the stage, VIP, been on stage myself performing live in front of a lot of people, fan side, backstage side, performer side. I've seen every angle of this thing that it has to offer, and I mean this literally. And my conclusion, after all of that, every angle, every access level, is that live music is always worse than the recorded version. Now stay with me because it gets a lot more real right outside my window last weekend. Last weekend was Lollapalooza in Chicago. I see the crowds from my apartment, from my studio, walking through them on the way to work and back, watching them, and I've never felt older in my entire life. The guys have about 2 looks. Some goofy hat situation they've got going on, or the standard sporty 16-year-old look. The girls, 90% of them, same outfit. Denim skirt, tight low-cut top, boots, like there was a uniform mailed out when they bought their ticket. I checked the lineup out of curiosity. I recognized maybe 6 or 7 acts out of the whole thing. I used to pride myself on knowing new music. Now I'm standing at my window like somebody's grandfather. Then I looked at ticket prices. Lowest tier, $185. VIP goes up to $2,100. And apparently those are already sold out for a crowd that looks mostly 17 to 20. I remember what tickets cost at that age. $25, $30 for a massive arena show, the kind of act that would headline a stadium today. I actually checked what $25 from 1990 is worth now, adjusted for inflation. $68. Still $120 short of the cheapest Lollapalooza ticket. Festival pricing has outrun inflation by a wide margin, and somehow there's still a sold-out line for $2,000 wristbands. So either parents are funding a couple grand of festival tickets for their teenager, which says something on its own, or there's a generation of working 16-year-olds saving up $2,000 for a wristband, which is honestly the more impressive story. Either way, something is off here. And I'd guess most of them are coming from the suburbs because as I walk Holly at all hours, early morning, late at night, all weekend, and I watch them wander the neighborhood with absolutely no idea what street they're on or how to get to the venue. I probably have more direct exposure to this exact crowd than almost anyone weighing in on it, since I'm out there all the time, exposed to it, not just glancing at a headline about it. I have zero interest in being down there with any of them, watching any band, old or new, live. I mean, it's not that I don't get it or that I don't love music. I always have. I still keep up on new bands constantly. But I've done the math on the actual experience. Packed shoulder to shoulder with people you don't know, sweat that isn't yours landing on your lip, warm beer down your back you didn't order, a bathroom line shared with 5,000 strangers, $15 for a warm domestic beer, all of that, to hear a worse version of a song you could hear perfectly sitting down in your own air-conditioned living room, for free. I've never once, not in my entire life, since I was 13 years old going to see Van Halen, thought the trade-off was worth it. And I've had every access point available to change my mind on it. Free tickets, backstage passes, side of the stage, the works. It never did. On the apps, if someone's bio specifically calls out how much they love live music, I swipe left. Immediately. Because of what I think it says about the person. Here's my theory. Standing in a crowd for 8 hours, screaming, fists up, dancing to a band you love, now that's a specific kind of behavior. It's the behavior of someone who's 16. And there's nothing wrong with being 16 and doing that. But when you're 52 and that's still the thing that you center your identity around, the thing you need to do, the thing you put in your dating profile like it's a personality trait, that tells me something didn't finish developing. You're still chasing that same high you were chasing when you were 16 in the same way, at the same volume. That's you being stalled. Think about what changes for most people between 20 and 50. Priorities shift. What used to feel essential starts to feel optional, then something you did once, enjoyed, and moved past. That's growing up in the most literal sense of the phrase. People who are genuinely comfortable with 52 don't usually need that exact same input that worked at 16 to feel like themselves. Honestly, most of the time in my own head, I don't feel 54 at all. I feel like whatever age I've been, some version of myself that never really got an update. It's only when I look in the mirror or stand looking out my window and watching a field of 18-year-olds in their uniformed outfits that the number actually registers. So, I understand the pull in wanting to hang on to whatever made you feel alive the first time around. The difference is what you do with that pull. Some people notice it and let it pass because they've got plenty else in their lives. Other people chase it, try to physically recreate the exact conditions that produced the feeling the first time, as if the feeling lives in the venue instead of in the version of themselves that existed back then. It's not really about the concert, it's about what the concert represents. Somebody who still needs the crowd and noise and loss of control to feel something. At some point, most people grow out of needing that particular thing to feel alive. When someone hasn't, by their 50s, I start wondering what else in their lives are running on that same setting. There's also the visibility of it. Showing up to something like Lollapalooza over the age of 30, and you're not blending in, you're getting pointed out. There's grandpa, or there's grandma. Nobody wants to be that person, standing out for exactly the wrong reason in a crowd that's mostly still in high school. So either you don't notice how conspicuous you are, or you notice and you go anyway. Neither one is a great look. I genuinely don't understand who's signing up to put themselves through that on purpose. This isn't just about live music either. There's a whole category of bio words that function the same way. I love to travel. Better have your passport ready. Love camping. Love the outdoors. Always up for an adventure. Individually, none of those mean anything bad. But when someone leads with it, spells it out, makes it the headline of who they are, it starts to paint a picture. The fact that it needs to be said at all, front and center, like the core identity, instead of just being the thing they enjoy sometimes, says a lot. Somebody who's actually settled into themselves usually doesn't need to advertise their hobby as their whole personality. It's just something they do. People who lead with it, in my experience, are usually still trying to convince themselves, and you, that they're still young, still spontaneous and fun in a way that reads as desperate. I already know what the response to this will be, that I sound judgmental, that people are allowed to enjoy things, that not everybody who likes a concert is secretly broken. Sure, one concert, one trip, one camping weekend means nothing. Nobody's getting swiped left on over an activity. It's the act of building the whole bio around it, leading with it, making it the first thing a stranger learns about you that tells me something. That the hobby is doing work it shouldn't have to, standing in for a personality that hasn't fully built out yet. So when I see live music specifically called out in a 50-something woman's profile, I don't think about the music at all. I think about a mindset. Someone who's maybe still chasing a version of themselves from 30 years ago instead of being who they actually are now. And look, I get why bands tour. It's pretty much the only way they can make real money anymore. Streaming pays close to nothing, so I don't blame the artists for going out and playing clubs. That's a completely different conversation from whether I personally want to be standing in that crowd or whether I want to date somebody who needs to be there. I'd rather sit in my own place, hear the song exactly the way it was meant to sound, and go to bed at a normal hour. Maybe that makes me old. I don't think it does. I think it means I already did that part of my life thoroughly from every angle available on both sides of the stage, and I'm done needing it to feel like myself. There's a difference between someone who's still fun and someone who's pretending to still be fun for an audience, even when that audience is just themselves. I'd rather date someone who knows the difference than someone who's still figuring out which one they are. If you're still out there in a muddy field for 10 hours, getting beer spilled on you, calling it the best night of your life, more power to you, really. Just don't expect me to be standing next to you, and don't put it in your bio expecting it to be a selling point. For me, it's completely the opposite. It's sunny out.